So I'm going to give you a small introduction about this winery in front of the house, like this you can enjoy the view on it. Then we're going to continue with the facilities. Because we are still picking right now, we won't be able to go into that house, but I will still give you a few explanations about this from outside. We're still going to go to the wine cellar, so don't worry about this. And then we will be back for the end, for the wine tasting here. Okay for you? Okay. Château Lascombes is the second classified group within the classification of 1855. And so here we only produce red wines. So we don't have any white wines, no rosé, only red wines. And we have two different labels. We have the main label, the one which is classified Château Lascombes. And we have a second label which is called Chevalier de Lascombes. So Chevalier means knight. And we call the second label Knight of Lascombes just because the very first owner was a knight back to 17th century. So it was Knight Antoine de Lascombes, so this is his family name Lascombes, which gave the name of the winery. So very easy to remember the origin of the name. So this house, by the way, it's a pretty old building which was built in two different parts. So you have the very first part with the flagship. So from the big door to the closed windows on your right side. And it's only the part with the flat roof that you have from this side, which is dating from 1648. So 17th century. And it was built by the Knight Antoine de Lascombes. So it was just a second house for him. He was living into the Bordeaux center. It was a hunting house. And then we have all the rest of the buildings, so the backside, the floors and the tower. Everything was added during the 19th century this time, but by another family. It was the Degustations family. So it also means that the real Lascombes no longer existed back to these days. And actually they died just before the French Revolution. So we don't really know exactly what happened, if they died naturally or if the Revolution helped it. He was a knight, he was working for the king, he was collecting the taxes. So maybe this is what happened. We don't really know. So after that we had many different owners here in Lascombes, and nowadays, since 2011, it's a French insurance company who owns the winery, exactly a healthcare insurance company for French medical staff. So since 11, but we have the same winemaking team on site since 2001. So even if the ownership has changed, it's really the same as the same team, the same people. And so in this team we have 3 winemakers. We have a general manager. He used to work in Château Lascombes, so first growth. Then we have a technical manager. She used to work in Château Segonnes on the Ribet. And then we have a consultant in the winemaking process. This is Michel Roland. Maybe you never heard about him, but into the wine industry, he's a quite famous person. And he's not working only in Lascombes. He's working in many different places in the world. Napa Valley, Argentina, South Africa, a lot of places, even Ponte Canet, Léoville-Poiferré, to give you all the names from the region. So his nickname, it's like a flying winemaker because he's always on the plane. And so this is really these 3 people all together since 01 who will decide about all the winemaking decisions, about the blend, the date of the harvest, the method that we're going to use and everything like this. So even if the ownership has changed, they really kept the same team, So they won't interfere at all into the process. So let's say that we have the same style since a bit more than 20 years now. I think it's nice. In case you're wondering, no one's living to the house anymore, but it's not completely abandoned. We use it for professional, for wine business professional. So we do have accommodation there. We have 9 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms, but it's really punctual according to wine events, you know, that we can have in this region. It's not like a real hotel, it's the all year round that you can host people there. So we can host some sommeliers, some wine merchants, big kind of merchants, you know, coming to wine events. We do have some wine merchants right now. And by the way, all the leaves that you have in the house, it's grape ivy. Oh. So middle of autumn, when you don't have the leaves in the house anymore, we can see some tiny berries and it's nice to see. Personally, I would have eaten it in case, but it's really nice to see. I told you about our 2 wines, the Château Lascombes and the Chevalier de Lascombes, and it's both Margaux wines. Into the Margaux appellation, Lascombes is really the largest vineyard. We have about 120 hectares. So it's like 300 acres, more or less. So it's really the biggest vineyard, but it's not all together, you know, it's really spread out into the appellation. So what you have here, it all belongs to us, but across the road, it belongs to another winery. So, you know, really into pieces, into the area. So 120 hectares for 3 different types of grapes. We have some Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, so the most common ones, and then Petit Verdot. For those who never heard about the Petit Verdot, it's a grape with tiny berries. Petit means small. So very small berries, so it means that you will have a lot of skin, seeds, and not so many flesh. And you know the tannins, the dryness when you are drinking red wine, it's coming from the seeds and the skin. So Petit Verdot would be a very powerful and very tiny type of grape. It's really spicy. I really like to say it's like salt and pepper when you are cooking. If you bring too much Petit Verdot, it will take the overtaste. If you don't put enough, it will miss something in your wine. So always in a small percentage. And here we only have a 5% of Petit Verdot, and then Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. So, you know, Bordeaux wines, it's in general blended wines. You have the left bank where we are, where you will find a higher percentage of Cabernet Sauvignon in the blends, and on the right bank, that will be the opposite, that will be a higher percentage of Merlot. Because of the terroir, you have much more clay and limestone soils, so fresher soils on the right bank, and much more hotter soils on the left bank. So we are on the left bank where you're supposed to have much more Cabernet Sauvignon, but Lascombes is one of the few exceptions because we do have more Merlot than Cabernet Sauvignon in our vineyards. We have exactly 50% of Merlot, 45% of Cabernet Sauvignon, and 5% of Petit Verdot. And so the reason is very simple. It's just because we have much more clay and limestone soils in our vineyards than gravel soils. So you know, it's really the terroir, as a combination of the weather and the type of soils, which will help you to decide what type of grape you will plant on it, just to take the best from the berries. So one of the first differences within our wines, for the Chateau, we will use the 3 types of grapes, Merlot, Cab Sauv, Petit Verdot, and also the oldest plot, so over 15 years. For the night, we will use only Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon, so no Petit Verdot in this one, but to be lighter and easier to drink. And it's made of the youngest vines this time, so the youngest plants, because we won't take vine by vine, too complicated to manage. So yeah, youngest for the night is the oldest for the Chateau. So it's the first differences within our wines. Okay for you? Yeah. So I don't know if you can see it here. In general, we are starting around the 15th or the 20th of September. But I don't know how was your summer, but here it was really hot and dry. So this is the reason why we started much earlier than usual. So that is the end of the harvest. And you know, depending on the grape varieties, the ripening time won't be the same. You start with Merlot first, it's really the earliest grape which is ready. Then you continue with Cabernet Sauvignon and you will end in general with Petit Verdot. But Petit Verdot is also a really capricious type of grape. So when it's ready, you just stop everything and you pick Petit Verdot. Because if you wait one more day, it can be too much on this one. And so this year, we already picked the Petit Verdot before the Cabernet Sauvignon because it was ready before. So Merlot, Petit Verdot, and now we are ending with the Cabernet Sauvignon. So we think that we're going to end maybe tomorrow or on Wednesday. We'll see. So the harvest is outside hand picking. We won't use a machine for the 120 grapes. The first that you can do only to bring the basket full of the berries. berries on site. You know, as I told you, it's really spread out into the area, so we need to bring everything you know, on site. And so from here you can see, the sorting area, which is a very basic sorting. If you want, you have the first sorting, which is a manual sorting. So you know, people they just empty the basket. Then they will just sort the grapes. So they are just removing like the bad ones, and if we have some lead or something like this. Then we will use a machine to descend the grapes, because at the beginning it's the old cursor that we are picking, you know, with the vegetable parts. And this machine will descend the grapes. So we will have only the single berries, no vegetable parts anymore. After this machine, we're going to use an optical sorting machine. So this is a machine, and if you want, on the table, you will have the berries on the vibrant table, and you will have a lot of cameras and a laser. And this laser will scan every berry and select only the perfect one, according to the size, the color, and the weight, which give you information about the acidity level, the sugar level, and the tannins. It's really fast and really efficient. Just wait a little bit. Second sorting. Here in Lascombes, we're going to do an extra step. If you don't want to do it, you just don't do it. It's a cooling down of the berries. If you want, we will send the berries through a tunnel, where we're going to send some natural gas into this tunnel, just to cool down the temperature of the berries. Because during the harvest, it's pretty hot and wet, and it's a perfect climate, you know, for the development of the bacteria. So it's really to avoid any of this. So it's about 8 degrees Celsius, so it doesn't freeze the berries at all. Lasts only a few minutes, and then we will put the berries into the tanks that you can see through the windows. So that will be one field, which is one type of grape, for one tank. So no mix at all at this moment. And before we start all the fermentation process, we're going to do another extra step. It's like the cooling tunnel, but this time it's done into the tank. That will be a cold maceration. So it's kind of the same process. It's done by thermal regulation. You know, we have double walls into the tanks, so we can control the temperature of the tanks. 8 degrees Celsius again, but this time that will last much longer. It will last about 10 days and not only a few minutes. And at this moment, the reason why we are doing this cooling down, it's because we want to slow down the process. We don't want to let start the fermentations, just in order to have a much better extraction from the berries. So much more fruity aromas and much more color into the final product. It's not a new thing for us to do the cold maceration, because we are doing this since 2001. So yeah, when the new team arrived at this moment. So 10 days more or less, and then still by thermal regulation, we're going to warm the tank up this time to allow the alcoholic fermentation. So transformation of the sugar into the wine by the yeast. It will last about 2-3 weeks more or less. And when it's over and we don't have sugar anymore but only wine, we will transfer all the wine from the yeast holding from the back house to the small wooden barrels into the wine cellar. So if you want, all included, the wine will stay into the back house about 40 days more or less. So let's say from in general, because this year is much earlier, but in general, let's say it's from October to late November, and then early December, everything is put into the small wooden barrels, but not blended yet. The blend for us will be done later during the aging process. Thank you. By the way, this building looks new because it is new. It's dating from 2021. So 2022 is only the second vintage really from this building. Okay, so we're gonna try to get So yeah, we can only sit from here. We cannot go over. Sorry. But you can see the first table, the first manual sorting. Then you have the accelerator, and you have the control. Then that going down to the machine. The machine is sending the Chateau to you? Shiraz or Pinot Noir, for example, but you will lose the name of the appellation on your label. You won't be Margaux, you won't be Saint-Émilion, neither Bordeaux, you'll be a French. You are losing like the prestige of the appellation. So South of America wines, Argentina and Chile wines, but it's originally coming from the southwest of France. It's Chateau. Malbec and Chateau are coming from the southwest of France. But because it's really collaborates with heat and humidity, it's the reason why it's so common in South of America wines. But nowadays with global warming, we have some wineries that start to really yes, it's from Charles.
They're very small. This one is very small. I really enjoy the Malbec because it's easy, also it's pretty quick.
Marianico is the one from us. Marianico.
Much bigger berry with a thin skin,
Yeah,
much more
it's very
fresh.
different.
as I told you earlier, the aging at the beginning, well, at the beginning of the aging, I mean, so wine is not blended yet, you know, everything is still separated, Merlot, Capsule, Petit Verdot. And during the first 4-5 months, more or less, we're going to do what we call the aging on lees, L-E-E-S. It's just that yeast from the fermentation, and we need a bit sediment because it will bring some fatness, brownness, and texture to the wine. It's mostly done for white wines, but you have more and more red wines during this aging on lees. The thing is that you need to keep the sediment in suspension, into the barrel, and they're just going down at the bottom. So again that, you have some wineries that are doing the stirring of lees. Remove the cork, put the stick inside and stir the lees. Here we're going to do the stirring of lees without the stick. We have some wheels. Just do it. No. Roll the balls on the outside. So that will be one complete turn twice a week during the first 4-5 months only. So from December to March, April, more or less. So the reason why we prefer using this wheel system instead of using the stick, like this, we don't need to open the barrel, so it's just safe here for the wine. So this aging on lees, it's not really more than a few months, because if you keep this sediment a too long time, it can bring back flavors in your wine, you know, and we don't want that. So after these few months, so on March, April, more or less, we're just going to take out the wine from the barrel. We will clean the inside of the barrels by spraying water, hot water, cold water, steam. We're also going to acidize the inside of the barrel by doing what we call the sulfiting. So this is what you can smell a little bit right now. I think they're doing some of it into the next room. The sulfiting, this is when we take a tablet of sulfur, candle it, let it consume into the barrel which is empty, and so the smoke will acetize inside of the barrel and kill all the potential bacteria that you can have there. It's also the reason why you can have contained sulfites in the bottle of wine. It's not really into the wine that you have sulfites, it's into the content of the wine which is in contact with the wine. So of course you will find it a little bit into the liquid. So this is done the first time on March, April. And it's also at these moments that we're going to do the blend of the wine, you know, while we are cleaning the barrels and everything is empty. And to do the blend, we need somewhere to store the wine. So this is the reason why we have some tanks underneath into these parts. This one is empty, so I can show you how deep it is if you want to get closer, but you have much.
So it's all cement. Oh,
no, it's stainless steel.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
All around, yes, it's concrete, but it's stainless steel, yeah.
3
in each alley, we just produce some slice grapes. We do the blend, we wash the barrels, and all the wine is coming back into the barrels to blend it. So the wine stays here only a few days, you know, just to give us enough time to do everything. As I told you, that won't be the first time, you know, it won't be only once. We're going to wash the barrel every 4 months, more or less, to avoid any development of bacteria, you know, into the wine. So every 4 months, the wine will go down here, we will wash the barrels again, and then all the wine will be back into the barrels. So all included, the aging for the Chateau, it's about 18 months, and for the night, it's 16 months, all included. So the first 5 months where the wine is not blended, then put there for a few days, and then back into the barrels. You know,
Is it pumped out?
Yeah, we are using this kind of pumps. So yes, it is a pump, but it's a peristaltic pump. So this is the same technology used in medicine to take out the blood of the wine. So not oxidation of the wine. And this is also how we are moving the wine from a building to another one, from the vats to the barrels, and etc. It's okay for now? So about the barrels, you can also see that we have some of new barrels. And we're going to use barrels only twice. First time when it's used for the first label for the Chateau, and then second time for the second label for the night. So only 2 uses, it's like 3 years more or less. It's a personal choice, we like the oakiness in our wine, and the more time you will use the barrels, less oakiness you will have in your wine. So yeah, 2 uses is like 3 years, because 18 and 16 months. And then it's like a leasing with the barrel maker. Like this, we don't have to manage all, the afterlife of the barrels. We just send them to the bar makers, and they can sell them for whiskey, cognac, or the wine. It's much easier for us like this. For the night, we're also going to use very big barrels that you have on each side of the walls, just because you have a much bigger content, so less contact with wood and wine, which is going to make it more or less oaky. And this is what we want for the night. We want more fruitiness and less oakiness. And for the chateau, we want more oakiness and less fruitiness. But it doesn't mean that we always use 100% of new barrels for the chateau. Minimum 50, so it's still a pretty high percentage of new barrels. Everything is okay? Yes. Yeah? Okay, so we're gonna have a look next. It's a little cooler, but it's not really nice. You? Oops, sorry. Excuse me.
I noticed the barrel room's fairly warm.
And so 2021, we're saving this part from from September 2022 to March 2023. And then the one will be put back into the previous building, what you saw from the outside, so to the vats. And we're going to do a final mix of the wine to be sure that the wine will be really the same in each bottle, no differences. And then we can do the bottling of the wine, filtration of course, and then the bottling of the wine. So 2021 will be bottled on June 2023. So from the beginning to the bottling, it's about 2 years of forking. But the date written on the label, it's always the picking date to give you information about the weather. So 2021 will be really on the market, let's say end of 2023, beginning of 2024. Because we need to let the wine rest a little bit after the bottling. So the smell that you can smell, this is a sulfur. So I can see some people, coughing. So if you want, we can move on outside. He told me it's less strong on this way. So if it's okay for you, we're just going to take the stairs, we're going to go back to the shop and take it. If all those 5% is not perfect, you won't use all of this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, so you can tap this out. In this one, you only have Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. It's really often 50-50 for the Chevalier. Really often it's 55 Merlot, 45 Cabernet Sauvignon. But you won't find 80-20 from us, it's not outside. First nose, without swallowing the glass to have an idea of what you can smell. Then you can swallow the glass to let the wine breathe as you want. I do prefer tears, it's a little bit more romantic. So it gives you information, the tears gives you information about the sugar level and so the alcohol. So when you have like really oily tears, it means it's high in alcohol. And this one is pretty high in alcohol, it's 14 degrees, which is for a red wine from Bordeaux, it's pretty high, but with global warming, it's just increasing, It used to be, let's say, 11, 13 degrees, more or less, and now it's much more like 13, 14 degrees, Oh, sorry, it's even more, it's 14.5. think it's really, because it's really fresh and really free. Alone like this would be really nice. Or if I really have to pair it with some food, something like not so heavy, with chicken, that would be nice. At home, I did it with a homemade, real homemade, you know, from Morocco, couscous, and it was really nice. The spiciness and the fruitiness, it was really well balanced. So, but yeah, something not too heavy, you know. If you have a strong meal, that would be much more for the chateau. 2018 Chevalier. It's, to be honest with you, I think it's still a little bit young. To me, 2 more years would be nicer. So it's the label of the winery. So it's the night, sorry, but it could have been the gate, the tree, whatever you want of Lascombes, you know. Thank you. You're welcome. With pleasure. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. If you want to have a look in the shop, feel free also. And just right here if you need it, if you have any questions. You're welcome. Take your time.